I attended all of the grades in Margaretville, from kindergarten through 12, and graduated from there.
I started kindergarten in 1948 and graduated in 1961. And the year I started kindergarten, you had to be 5 by September 1st. And my birthday was October, so I missed the deadline. Jane and I were in the same kindergarten with Miss McNitt, I believe was her name. And we were not a good combination together because Jane would get up and do things when the teacher left the room for 10 or 15 minutes, and she'd go around and wake the other kids up and do things like that, or sit in a wastebasket and get stuck. I mean, the things, so we would get in trouble. And one of us either had to go stand out in the hall. I believe that was the common punishment at the time. And so from kindergarten on, we were never, ever in the same classroom again.
There were a lot of plays, a lot of music things. In fact, the grade school did Cinderella one year, and I was Cinderella, which was an honor.
And we did, well, Jane was Cinderella and I was the fairy godmother. And we had solos, we sang and did all kinds of things. And Tommy Snyder was the big heartthrob at the time in 4th grade.
We had a band and a chorus, and we did at least one musical each year. Yeah, there were lots of musical activities. Plus we had marching band, which nobody liked to do that. There weren't too many places except the 2 dueling drugstores to hang out after school, and we usually did that. And hung around on the corner where Christian's drugstore is now, because the people went by in every direction and we didn't miss a thing. My husband, because we've been together for so very long, he was my boyfriend in school. I was 13, he was 15. Our first date, he didn't have a license and he lived where we live now. And so he drove the tractor to pick me up. I didn't go on the tractor. I just want to make that clear. But he drove to my house and we walked to the movies and we walked back home, and he got on his tractor and drove back home. And then he turned 16, so we had access to a car when we went out, which was much improved. Yeah, it was a great place to grow up in the village. There were kids everywhere, and we got together wherever and whenever we could, which was pretty much any time we wanted. Nobody kept track of us, it seemed, although I expect we were being tracked every minute by friends and neighbors. But it seemed like we were just out in the morning and usually came home for lunch, but if we didn't, it wasn't a big deal. By the end of the day, I think people were a little exercised if we wouldn't show up. But yeah, it was just wonderful fun.
Everybody who comes to reunion, they will all say it's a class reunion or a multi-class reunion, but it's like a family reunion. Because when you grow up in a small town, you know everybody. You know their brothers and sisters, their parents, and even if they're not in your class, they're in 6th grade and you're in high school or whatever. But I think there's that family feeling that comes across in a small town.